you'll see that there are some additional actions that can be run right from inside of here. And so this is where we can choose to send all of our GP data to an Azure data lake. And so this is a process that can take quite a bit of time, right? If you have an 80 gigabyte or 100 or 300, 500 gigabyte GP database, this is a process it's not going to finish in just a couple hours. This is going to take it's going to take some serious time to basically grab all that data from your SQL server and then move it into a CSV or JSON format and then upload it to that Azure data lake. So just letting you be prepared for if you have not run that, that is something that can take a while too, as well as you still have your migration, right? If you haven't done the moving of data, your customers, vendors, some of the transactions and accounts and things like that, that there's certainly going to be some processing time on that as well. So we're going to talk specifically about this Azure Data Lake. I've already run this process, so I'm going to show you what it actually looks like inside of Azure. And you can see I have a data lake set up. Again, a data lake is really just an Azure storage account, right? We're storing a blob storage, and you can see inside of here what you're going to get when you specify the storage account is going to, it's going to create a container in here called GP database. When I click on that, you're going to see I get a number of folders inside of here. And so you're going to have one for your Dynamics database, right? And what you're going to see inside of here, you're going to start seeing it is you're going to get a CSV and a JSON, and then also some metadata about that table for every table that's in that database. Right, so that's for the Dynamics database. But if you went and looked at, one of the company databases, you can see it splits it into some folders. And if I wanted to go look at my sales folder, you can see we're basically getting SQL table names. So I just wanted to let you know this is what this solution is doing today. And then what I'm going to show you next is how PopDoc can actually hit that information. So if I go ahead and go inside of PopDoc now, I can, if we look at this, and it's going to load up one of my existing, so this is all my SOP line history inside of here, it looks like. There we go. So that's pulling directly from a data lake. That's not coming from GP. It's pulling from that data lake sitting out there in the cloud. Now, a couple things you should notice right away, right? A lot of these fields, it doesn't say SOP number, it says SOP numby. That's coming right from SQL. And so those are some things to be aware of. And again, you can see I can have as many of the tables as I've decided to push out there. So you can see I've only done like maybe eight of the tables, but I could quickly go to the customer master, and you can see another thing here. We got to pick which fields that we might want. So I'll just pick a couple of fields. And so now it's pulling from that data lake. So that's fine inside of PopDoc, but that's not really where you want to see the data, is it? You are going to want to see that data somewhere else. So before I show you that, I'm going to show you how easy it is to add that data. So let's say instead of one of those lists that I've shown you so far, if I want to go inside of here and I want to add a new list, I can do this. You can see that I could, if I wanted to add maybe some inventory transactions or something like that, or I'll just add inventory items. That's just easy. So I can click, any of these data lake lists that have been pushed out there, and now you can see it's adding it so that we can access that from the data lake. And so now here's what I'm going to show you is if I go into where this is embedded inside of Business Central, I'm going to add that new inventory list that we just added inside of there so we can see it. So here we go. We're just going to add a new list. I'm going to add it to my GP data lake list. And there's our new IV 101 list. And I should have added some fields earlier, but I didn't. So we'll find that in a second. And now if I go back inside of here, and if I go ahead and pull up this list, and for now, I'm just going to stick with our data lake. Now let's pick our columns. There we go. Let's pick a couple columns. And now you can see we have all of our data, but again, it has the SQL names, which are not, in my book, are not necessarily the greatest for human readability. Okay, so that's kind of our first look at, I guess, at what we're looking at with just the standard Microsoft solution.